All right.
I've been standing there for like
Oh my
2
god.
minutes, 3 minutes.
That was so scary.
Yeah.
Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm happy to see you and welcome if you're new here. Today I'm going to be glazing some of my pottery and we're also going to just refresh the whole glazing station. So I got some extra buckets that I need to combine some glaze into. Get everything all situated. It's January, it's the new year. Let's get it settled. As you can see, this is the current glazing station that we have going, that we're working with. I have all of these glazes up top that are good for dipping, and then I have all of these pints. I also have some down here. Right now we're kind of using this table as a catch place for whatever else. It's winter time, so we have a lot of stuff inside that we would normally have outside. But you can see I have these buckets. So here I have some bigger buckets that I'm going to be using as we start to learn how to make our own glazes. But for now, I have some of these smaller buckets back here that I'm going to use to distribute some of these pints of glazes into. I do typically end up buying a lot of pints of certain glazes versus gallons because a gallon can fill up the buckets that I have, but sometimes the supplier that I use doesn't actually have a gallon size of whatever glaze color I really like. So I found out that I think it's either 6 or 8 of these equals a gallon, and it's the same price per ounce. I just buy like 6 to 8 of them or however many they have in stock, and then I'll take these and pour them into the buckets that I'm using. That way it's a lot quicker on the back end whenever I have to dip my glazes or dip my pieces into the glaze. Just a lot quicker than brushing on. Actually 9 bottles here. I might have already had one left over, so yeah, I guess 8 total for a gallon. I don't know if they'll even all fit in here, but we'll see. So I did not see any more that needed to go in this bucket, so I'll probably just save that for later, but I do have this dusty rose bucket with some extra pints, so I'm gonna go ahead and just top that off as well. I'm probably gonna see what else I have that I can just top off the buckets and go from there. Essentially, I'm just gonna start taking these and pouring them into these buckets one at a time, and then I'm gonna get some extra water, kind of like what you do with pasta sauce and things like that, where you take a little extra water, put it in the jar, shake it around, and get the rest out. This is one I've already been using, so yeah, this is definitely gonna need some water in it. But whenever these come shipped, they come with tape wrapped around it, so I'm just gonna peel that off, open it up, and then of course I have to peel this seal off as well. So this might actually take longer than I'm anticipating just because of all of that, because obviously they don't want them to open while they're being shipped. So yeah, see, look how it's kind of like lumpy in there, so we'll see what I can get out. I also hope that these didn't freeze at one point. Oh, it literally looks like whenever you pour like cranberries out of the jar, and it kind of keeps the shape of the can. So yeah, I'm gonna just have to rinse all of these to get the rest of the glaze, which is okay because clearly it's too thick to dip in anyways. Normally you want it to be kind of like a cream, like a heavy whipping cream consistency whenever you're dipping your pieces into it. And that's not what this is, which also makes sense because these are brushing glazes, which means they're thick enough that you can dip your brush in and brush it on your piece. That sound. It's like it has suction in there, so it's hard to shake it out. Yummy! Yeah, that one got a little bit messy. Alright, so that was 2. I'm I'm gonna see if all of these can fit. This one I guess I've already used before because it's already open. It's still pretty thick and stuck in there though. Oh yeah, that one's coming out a lot better though. I normally have to add a little bit of water into these anyways whenever even if I'm brushing them on. Just because it is kind of thick in there, it just helps mix everything a little better. Okay, there's that. Should probably get a trash can to put all the seals and wrappers in and tape. Now I'm kind of squeezing it. Yeah, that worked better. Squeeze it ahead of time and then shake it out. That came out pretty clean. This one feels really light. I don't know why. I haven't used this one yet. I'm so happy I have this little heater here because it's so cold out here. So it's kind of nice having this just blow directly on me. And then it'll also help whenever I start to glaze everything because when it's cold, the glaze doesn't dry as fast. So the heat will help it dry a little quicker. Yeah, this is coming out better now. Squeeze, then shake. I need to figure out what to use all these jars for though, because I don't want to just throw them all away. I'm thinking maybe I can save them because I'm going to eventually start learning how to make my own glazes just because this is expensive. It's hard to source. I had to buy all these pints because they didn't sell a gallon version of them. So it's just been a hassle trying to source everything. It's expensive. In the past, I also haven't had a designated place for pottery. I've always been shoved in a corner or had to do it outside or things like that. I didn't have a whole room or a whole garage to put everything. So now that I have space and can actually buy the raw materials, any of like the powders, chemicals, anything like that, it is in the garage too, so I can open the garage doors, let fumes or anything else go outside, not be breathing everything in, because that's a big issue as well. But yeah, I have a good setup now that I can start to learn how to make my own glazes, perfect that, and then not have to rely on the supply of ordering glazes online and hoping that they have it in stock and all of that stuff. That's what I was saying about this one. This bucket of glaze here that I just got in the mail a couple days ago, I had realistically ordered that probably 5 or 6 months ago, and it was out of stock, so it went on back order. So I would like to not have to deal with stuff like that. Squeeze and shake. Yay. We got it. Looking good. Okay, this is the last one. I'm gonna go ahead and get that out. And then I'm definitely gonna need to put water in this. Look how thick it is. Can you imagine trying to dip something in that? And then to mix everything, I actually have a mixer that goes on a drill. So I can just use the drill to mix everything. It's so much easier. I used to use a whisk and do it by hand. I've seen people use clean, new toilet brushes, which I have not tried that, but I bet that would work well to scrape the bottom of the bucket and everything. But I do like using my power drill. And of course this is going to be the most difficult one to open because it's the last one. Okay, there we go. Alright, squeeze and shake. Oh, Gotta squeeze again. Good thing this is yellow and not like another color. Alright, I spilled a little bit there. So now what I'm gonna go do, I'm probably gonna fill 1 or 2 of these up, shake it, pour it in the next one, shake it, pour in the next one, and then dump it all in here. That way I have enough water in here, and then see how that is. If it's still too thick, I'll add more water. So I have water in here. I'm just gonna shake it. That feels pretty good. Oh, beautiful. I'm gonna do it with this one. Yeah, that worked really well. So just gonna keep on doing that. Move down the line. I actually have this one too. I can be doing 2 at once. That one's leaking a little bit, of course. Just gonna pour it in here. That one's good. I'm wondering if I can put these, I probably don't want these in the dishwasher, never mind. Even just with the chemicals. So I'll probably have to just get the hose and spray these all out over time. Because I would like to reuse these, but we'll see. It is challenging to reuse stuff like this in ceramics unless you get it really, really clean, just because you don't want the chemicals that are in these glazes to mix with something else and make it not turn out right. Alright, this might be the last one that I mix with this water, and then I'll continue with the next jar. Alright, that feels pretty good. Just gonna pour that in there. This is all gonna fit in the bucket really nicely, so I'm happy that I figured out that 8 of these fit in this container. I feel like a bartender or something, or a barista, shaking these around. Like this. All right, 2 more. I'm kind of shaking it towards the bucket because it does leak sometimes. It's only leaked on a couple of these and I just switched the lid out. But in the case that it leaks, I want it going into the bucket, not everywhere else. Pro tip also, don't wear anything that you don't want stained. This is a light enough glaze color that it's not going to stain anything, but I still just don't. I try not to wear things in the pottery studio that I really, really care about. I do like this sweatshirt. But luckily, I don't think I have any glazes right now that would stain. Also, pro tip, if you're doing what I'm doing where you're buying glazes and you need a lot of it and you plan on dipping it, I recommend not buying, this is technically a dipping glaze, this one that came in this bucket, but I recommend not buying the dipping glaze version. I recommend buying the brushing version because they're the same price, and this is not confirmed. I don't confirm this. This is just my assumption, but I'm pretty sure that the dipping glaze has more water in it. So you can kind of stretch out the brush glazes a little more by just adding more of your own water, and then you have more actual glaze to work with. Think of it as kind of like a concentrate, and you're not going to be adding that much water, just enough to make it like liquidy enough to dip in. So that's what I do. Feel free to listen to it or not. That's what I try to do. All right, now I'm going to clean this up and then go ahead and mix this, and I'm going to show you how I mix it, and then I'm going to continue with all of the other glazes. This is the tool that I use to mix all of my glazes that are in buckets. This is actually called a Jiffy mixer, Jiffy mixer, and you just put it in your regular drill and then you start mixing. So that's what I'm going to use. I do recommend wearing shoes and pants that you don't care about getting glaze on, because it's probably going to go everywhere. At least there's a very good chance of that. I'm going to get mixing and show you how it works. I always hold the bucket with my feet and then make sure it's spinning the right way. Might need a little bit more water, so I'm gonna go get some and add that to it. Just adding a little bit. I don't want to add too much because obviously you can always add more water. You can't take it away, but we don't really want it to be clumpy like it is right now. Hello, so my camera died there for a minute, so while it was charging, I just did the same exact thing I did with the Sunbeam yellow glaze with the Cirrus Flow, which is like a light blue color. So I did the same thing, emptied all of them into the bucket, and then mixed water, all of that. I just opened Soft Aqua, it's one of the Spectrum glazes, and you can tell it's for dipping, so whenever I was mixing it, it's definitely very thin, and it is already the appropriate thickness or runniness for dipping glazes, so I'm not going to add any water to this. This is a test tile for my speckled clay. I've used this glaze before, but I just want to make sure it turns out the way that I remember. So I'm making a test tile for that one. And then my dark brown bare clay, I'm going to make a test tile for that just because I have not had this glaze since I've had this clay. So I just dipped in there. I'm going to let those dry, and then I'll fire these in the kiln whenever I fire everything else. I'm going to get started on glazing all of my other bisque pieces. These three I'm for sure going to be using this glaze for. This is one of my bigger sippy cups, and I kind of want it for myself because I have a small sippy cup right now that I can bring to work, but I kind of want a bigger size so I can bring a bigger coffee to work. So I pulled this aside for myself, and I'm going to glaze that. I have a mug and then something else that Drew made that he wants me to test glaze this on. Let's get started. What I need next is actually, 1 second. Okay, I normally use a ladle to scoop the glaze and pour it inside of my pieces, but I forgot that we got these syringes. It's not like a metal syringe, it's a plastic one. It's technically medical, so it's like it comes wrapped and everything, but this actually works perfectly to oh, the cap's on. Okay. This works perfectly to soak up the glaze, and then I can squirt it inside of my pieces. So yeah, these are great. I can put a link to them in my description of the video if you want to get some too, because it actually did take us a while to find ones that were big enough, like the nozzle's big enough and fits enough glaze to make it worth using and all that stuff. So I'm actually going to use this to glaze. See, look how easy that is. And then I'm going to just squirt it inside here. This is just a little bit cleaner than using a ladle or like a measuring cup or anything like that, because I can just, the glaze doesn't really stick to the plastic super easily, so it's not like dripping everywhere. And then I just pour it out the same that I would with any other way that I put glaze inside. I rotate it and pour it out at the same time, and then I'm going to just take my piece and dip straight down. And then I like to leave like a couple inches at the bottom just because I like the look of exposed clay. I also use a speckled clay, so I like being able to see the speckles and the raw clay and all that stuff. I think it looks pretty. I mentioned it is very cold outside, so the pieces are also cold, which means that the glaze is not going to dry as fast as it normally would. So I got to hold it a little extra, a little longer. And then once this dries, I may do one more dip, just like that much, so that I get a nice runniness on the top there, and it'll run down the piece. But to be clear, I'm not going to be dipping it all the way to this point, because then it's going to run past the piece and stick to the kiln shelves, and it's going to be a whole mess. And you'll basically ruin your piece and your kiln shelf. Alright, so that one's drying. I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing with this mug. The syringe really does make it a lot quicker, and if you're using multiple glazes at a time, you can have multiple syringes, so you're not like sharing the same ladle or measuring cup or whatever else. Because if you're sharing something between different glaze colors, you're gonna have to wash it off every time in between dips and everything. So I'm gonna dip till right about there. So I'm gonna leave part of the handle exposed and then quite a bit of this bottom exposed, just because again, I think it'll look really pretty. Alright, a few that's dripping off a little bit. There's a little bit of unglazed handle right there, so I'm gonna just make sure I get that covered after this dries. Alright.
I've been standing there for like
Oh my
2
god!
minutes, 3 minutes.
That was so scary!
Gotcha.
Oh my gosh. Oops. Okay, this is my label maker. This is my label maker, which is what I'm going to use to label my glaze buckets. So he went and found it for me. Okay, but I'm going to do that in a little bit because right now I'm showing you how I glaze everything. So yeah, I'm going to do this piece too. Just the inside. So this is what it looks like. Whenever I squirt it in there, I try to get it on the walls of the piece too, just to make it easier to cover everything whenever I pour it out. So I'm literally just rotating it and pouring it out as I go. If for some reason you miss a spot, like you didn't have enough glaze inside of the piece to hit everything, you can just kind of dip it at an angle and it'll get the inside. If you dip it straight down, the glaze is not going to go inside of your piece. That's just physics. So, but yes, everything's covered on the inside now. And I'm just going to dip straight down. And you only want to dip it down maybe like a couple seconds, depending on the glaze. Some glaze is extra runny. You have to do your own test for sure. Some glaze is extra runny, so you really just want to like dip in and out really quickly. Some glaze you want to let it sit a little bit. But honestly, most glaze you don't want to let it sit more than just a few seconds, because then your piece is gonna be absorbing more glaze, so it's gonna be thicker on here. One, the glaze as it dries can crack off and fall off. It'll flake off a little bit, and then your piece is just gonna turn out horribly. Like you might as well just rinse that glaze off. Or two, it's gonna be too thick, and then whenever it fires, it's gonna just run all the way down, and then stick to the kiln shelves, ruin your piece, all that stuff. So this looks good. This is gonna get a nice little glaze drip right there. I can already tell. So that's gonna look really nice. Again, if this was an extra runny glaze, I would be like wiping this bottom drip off, because that would probably run all the way down. Yeah. Alright, so this one's pretty dry now. I'm going to go ahead and just dip a little bit more right on top, because I want it to be extra runny. I want to make sure I don't fill up my hole right there though. Yeah. Because I need to be able to sip from that little spout. Alright, and then I can let it run down and see it's making drips there. So that's going to be really pretty once it fires. I'm so excited for this glaze. I haven't used it in a while just because it is pretty similar to my soft blue glaze. I almost didn't buy this one again because, again, it is so similar, but it's just a little bit greener, a little more aqua-y versus my blue that I use. So, okay, and so this one you can see There's a little spot that did not get glaze on it, so I'm actually going to pay special attention to that and kind of dip and cover it. Yeah, so I dipped it and then I sort of tilted the piece so it could cover it. I might even put a tiny bit on here. Yeah, just to make sure it gets coated, because it could run while it's it could run enough while it's firing to cover it, but I don't know for sure. It's still not getting on there. I might just need to use a tool and spread it. So I want to make sure it gets glaze on it. Okay, that's probably good. Okay, so all of these, oh, see, that's gonna be a nice drip right there. As long as it doesn't go too far over, I might even just take it up a little bit, and then once it dries, I might take a sponge and just flatten it, because again, I don't want it dripping all the way to the bottom. Anyways, so there's the first 3 pieces. I'm gonna go ahead and close this bucket up, just because again, I haven't tested it since it came in the mail and all that stuff, so I don't want to go too crazy with this glaze. But I'm going to go ahead and test out some of the other glazes that I also got in the mail and the ones that I just mixed up, just to make sure, you know, quality control, make sure everything works as it should. It's so hard to get this handle. Maybe I'll end up pouring this in its own bucket anyways, just because this bucket's kind of annoying to use. Okay, there you go. Alright, this one is Cirrus Flow. I'm actually going to go ahead and make the thing for this. So this is just a little punch label maker. It's like an old, like people used to use this before they had like the battery powered ones, but now it's more of just an aesthetic thing. It is annoying a little bit to use, just because you have to turn for every letter versus just typing it in, but I think it looks cute, so it's worth it for me. I'm gonna put an extra space, and then I'm gonna cut it just like that. So cute. It might be backwards for you, but yeah, it's cute. I'm gonna go ahead and put it on here. It might be a little small to read, so I might also just end up getting a piece of tape and writing it on there, but I'm gonna try this first. Okay, so this is Cirrus Flow. Did I spell it right? Yeah. Yeah, I did. Okay, let's do, we have a couple incense holders, and we have this little pot. These are ones that Drew made, so I'm using them as testers because he said that I could. Normally I would rinse this. I'll get a new one. I'll be good on camera. If the colors are close enough, sometimes I don't bother rinsing it. Like this, that was an aqua. This is also kind of an aqua-y blue. So I could probably use the same syringe, but they're also really easy to clean. You just use them with water a couple times and it works fine. So, but better safe than sorry. You don't want to mess up your pieces that you've already spent so much time creating. Also, if there's ever a glaze that was like, one is white and one is like red or black or something, I definitely would be washing everything very well in between uses. Alright, Cirrus Flow. Okay, this one doesn't really have a foot to grab, which is kind of difficult. So I'm going to try to hold it like that. Just a little bit of a grip. Really testing my grip strength right now. Because there's like a tiny little groove that I'm holding on to. Alright, as long as I get it sort of stable where it's not just completely running down because I hate cleaning up bottoms. I would rather hold it a little longer above the glaze bucket for it to drip into than set it down, let it run, and then have to wipe it off with a sponge later. That looks okay. I'm actually gonna go ahead, I'm gonna bring all of these over here and put them in front of the heater. That way they're easier to glaze. Because right now they're all so cold that the glaze is just taking forever to dry. Okay, this one is gonna be a little tricky just because it's an incense holder, which means that we need to keep this hole clear. So I'm probably going to put some on here. And then I might just have to clean the hole out, honestly. That might just be what I have to do. This one also doesn't really have a good bottom to hold on to. The bottom is fine, but it just doesn't have like a indentation that I can hold on to, so it's a little difficult, but that's okay. Yeah, so I might just let this one dry and then sort of clean out the hole a little bit. Okay, that's good enough. I'm wiping it on my pants, I don't even care. And then that's already glazed like that, so I might use Sunbeam on that one. Let's do this one with Cirrus Flow. This would be a cute one. Look how cute this pot is. It's almost like a ancient, like Egyptian type pot. If it had little hieroglyphs or something on there, that'd be really cute. So that one I'm just shooting that glaze inside. And then I'm gonna dip this one. I dipped it almost all the way down. It's gonna be really cute because this glaze color is really pretty too. Sometimes you'll get little air bubbles here. I like to just blow them or blow on them so they pop, because otherwise sometimes they won't pop as they dry, so then whenever they glaze fire, you have like a glazed bubble, and it's like really weird. It's like this very thin piece of glass basically that's a bubble, so you end up having to like pop them anyways. So I just kind of blow them to pop them. Okay, yeah, this one's gonna be so cute. Just imagine like some tiny little flowers in here. Adorable. Adorable. Okay, so there's that. I think I'm done with Cirrus Flow. Now I'm gonna get Sunbeam again. All right, here is Sunbeam. I'm going to get one more syringe. This is like our last new syringe. And to be clear, we are not throwing these away. Yes, it says disposable. That's if it's for medical purposes. We are reusing these, okay? You are not taking these, unwrapping them, and throwing them away. We are not about that life. Woo. Okay. Same thing, I'm sort of spraying the edges, it fills the bottom, and then I'm just sort of pouring it out the side. Might need a little more. Alright, so the inside is coated. Gonna just dip it now. Ooh, it's a little clumpy. If it stays clumpy, you can always get like, honestly you could get, I say a kitchen mesh strainer. Obviously don't use one that you're gonna keep using in the kitchen. Make it pottery specific because you don't want chemical residue on ones that you're using in the kitchen. So you could get like a kitchen mesh strainer or a pottery sieve, whatever it's called, and get these clumps out, because by mixing it, I don't think it's gonna get all the clumps out. So that's the ideal case scenario. We'll see how this turns out. I didn't realize that it was gonna have these little clumps. Here, I'll show you a little closer. So you can see in the light reflection, all these little clumps. Maybe it'll turn out fine, but rule of thumb, you generally want it to be kind of like a smooth glaze, unless it intentionally has a texture or something like mixed in. So there's that. Maybe I should just brush it on these so I don't have to clean the whole. 1 second. This is like my favorite glaze brush ever. I don't know if it was like cheap whenever I first got it, because I got it in high school like 10 or 11 years ago or something. But now I either can't find it, or whenever I do find it, it's like expensive, and I'm like, why is it so expensive? But it's 33 series 799 MD Big Sweep Brown brush. I know I got it from Sheffield Pottery online like a long time ago. I feel like if it was the price that it is now, I would not have bought it. That being said, it is my favorite glaze brush because it holds glaze really well, and then you can also get it like in a point, so it's a little, I don't know, a little finer to use than some of the wide bristle brushes. But for the price, I am fine just having one and using the other ones that I have. So remember, we want 3 coats of glaze if we're brushing glaze on. So this is 1 coat. I'm gonna let it dry. It's probably not gonna be perfect. Like, it's thick enough that I think it's fine. I'm gonna do some thicker parts so that it can run down as it's firing. So yeah, I'm gonna let this dry. I'm gonna consider this like 2 coats. And then I'll let it dry and do 1 more coat. I also bought overalls, which I'm gonna start using for pottery, so I'm not getting stuff on my actual clothes, because especially if this is like loungewear, I don't necessarily want to change out of this after I'm done in the studio, but I do if I have like glaze or clay on me. So if I can just slip overalls on over it, that's great. I already have them, I'm just washing them now, so they're still wet, but okay, so that's probably good. Maybe I'll do 1 more sunbeam just because I have it out. This one I might glaze the inside and dip the outside just because it's kind of tall. This honestly might need a little bit more water added to it. And that's what I'm saying about the dipping glazes versus the brushing glazes. Since this is a brushing pints that I bought, I poured in here and I added water. You're gonna have to play around with the consistency a little bit. Because if it's really thick, like, it's gonna run all over your piece. It's not gonna look good. It's gonna be inconsistent. Stuff like that. This is still okay, but it might help to have like a tiny bit of extra water in here. Okay, so that looks good. Oh, silly me, I have other pieces that are like mugs and cups that I need to glaze. So I have 3 more sippy cups and 2 mugs. So I'm gonna do 1 mug in Sunbeam, I'll do 1 mug in Cirrus Flow. I already did a mug in the Soft Aqua. Holy cow, I was just forgetting about like finished pieces. So I'll do 1 more of each of them. I might do another Soft Aqua, just since I do plan on keeping one of those for myself. You might need to put like 2 syringes worth, whoops, in some of the bigger pieces, like the mugs, because they're gonna need more glaze on the inside in order to coat everything. And it'll just be easier to like move it around and help it flow a little bit better. All right, so I did the outside, or the inside, now I'm gonna do the outside. Yeah, this feels a little thick, so I might add a little more water. But it should still turn out okay. This isn't a specifically really flowy glaze. If it was, like, I have the running hot chowder glaze from Amico. That one is so runny. Like, you need that glaze to be so thin, because if it's thick on there, it's running all over the place. I'll even show you. It looks like this. This is the running hot chowder. It is so pretty. Unlike the name of it is kind of gross to me. But you can see it runs a lot. And this, I've been using that glaze for years, so I know not to dip it too long, but even this one still ran a lot. So I'm actually gonna grind the bottom of this one down and keep it for myself to use. This is like an olive oil bottle. It has little divots here, and I have a spout that goes in here. So yeah, see, look at the bottom. It looks so bad because the glaze ran and then stuck to the kiln. I actually had it sitting on a ceramic puck, which is what this raised part is here. But yeah, so I need to grind that down and then I can use it, but I would never sell it like that. So it is the next day in the evening. Since I last filmed, I loaded the kiln and fired it overnight. So it's actually cool enough to unload now, and that's what we're gonna do. So you get to see everything finished. It is so cold out here, so you can see I'm wearing my puffer jacket. It is so cold out here, so you can see I'm wearing my puffer jacket because we cannot hold heat in this garage. It is painful. So, but yeah, I'm gonna set y'all up and get started. All right, so we have a guest here. Woo! This is Drew, my boyfriend. If you have not seen him before, he helps me a lot with my pottery and he edits all the YouTube videos that you see. So let's open this baby up. It's looking good. It's a little bit warm. Let me show you. All right, it looks good. I don't know. I don't think I need gloves.
No, everything's fine.
Yeah. A nice little butter yellow. I don't know if you can really see the color in this light just because it's really cute. It's actually still warm but not hot, so it feels really good on my cold hands right now. I wonder if yeah, this one is so pretty, but it kind of stuck right here. This is why I put it on these clay little pieces though. So I can probably break this off and grind it down, but I'll do that later. But yeah, it turned out really pretty. I don't know which one. These might be all of the aqua blue, like the new glaze that we got. It does. Yeah, it ran more than I realized.
Yeah, because you didn't even dip it down that far.
No.
This came out pretty good.
Yeah, so Drew actually threw this piece.
It was a little cracked and stuff, but
That's
I could
okay.
use it to like keep pottery utensils or something.
Yeah, utensils. Yeah, it is really, really pretty. It's very like oceany.
I like the color. It is very similar.
Actually,
to the blue.
This is new. Oh no, this was the old clay. Because it's darker.
Oh yeah, this is the speckle.
Yeah, I like
Or
that.
at least mine for sure was the speckle one.
Yeah.
This one.
Oh, this one looks cute.
Ooh, that turned out real good.
It did. This I can't remember. This might be the one I was gonna keep for myself.
What the heck is this one?
That's brown bear.
I know, but
It's the aqua blue.
and it turned brown.
I think it
That's
just
so
I don't think it turned brown.
Oh,
So this is
it's too thin.
yeah. I think that it just like the brown clay shines through a lot. So I don't know if I'll really be using this one that much unless I have really textured pieces. But it looks cool though. Let's see if it can focus. Yeah. Oh. I have a surprise in the kiln. That's what I was talking about. Alright, I will take out the surprise for him first. So when we still had Pepper, we basically imprinted her paws into these pieces of clay, and then we fired them, and then I just took glaze and filled in where her little imprints were from her paw. I think that they turned out really nice.
You did. I'm so sad.
I know. Other goodies we have another mug, some incense holders, and then some sippy cups, as well as a few other things. So I'll just start with this one. Turned out pretty good. This is the Cirrus Flow sippy cup. I think on this clay it's a little bit darker than my usual clay, so the colors aren't as vibrant, but it still looks good. This is the Aqua. That looks really nice too. Sippy cup. And then here's the Sunbeam butter. I call it butter yellow, but it's the Sunbeam glaze. So you can actually see on my sippy cups, I have this little ripple here too, because it gives you a spot to fit your fingers around. So yeah, that looks really nice. And then I'll get the last mug. That's Cirrus Flow. Looks pretty good again.
I like that shape.
I like the shape too, and the handle's nice.
This was one of the first things I made. I don't really know what it is. It's just like a little,
It's like a little
decorative
vase
piece. Cirrus Flow, I believe. And then I made 2 cups. This is just like a regular cup, and it's in the Sunbeam yellow as well. Did crack on the bottom a little bit, but it's one of my first pieces. And then this was my attempt at doing like a little ripple mug like she does. I didn't attach a handle to it, but it turned out pretty good.
Yeah.
It's got a nice shape to it.
It is a nice shape.
And then the last 3 things that I have, I attempted to make little incense holders. This one filled with glaze, so we'll have to drill that out if we want to use it for that. Otherwise it could be just like maybe a spoon rest or something. This one turned out a little bit better. It's got the little hole right there. Just a little simple bowl looking one. And then this was another disc one. You can see the little hole. So I'll definitely test these and see if they work.
Alright, and then we have one more shelf, which I think is just the plate, the last plate from the set of 10 that I was making. It is, and it turned out so well. So this is the only thing on this shelf, but it's also like very important because it's the last plate that I need to complete the set that I made for a commission. And it doesn't look like it warped too much. I'm gonna have to grind off a little bit here and here where it stuck. It looks like it stuck a little bit to the clay pieces that I had underneath it, but I think that the color turned out really nice. It didn't really warp. It's nice and flat for the most part, so.
Compared to this one that did warp.
I know. Luckily I had 11, so I had 1 extra, and this is the extra, if you can see how much that warped. So, yeah. So here's the glaze haul. Not too big of a glaze firing this time. Plus those, but just enough. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. I'll be posting a lot more educational content as well as some vlogs, day in the life, things like that. So I look forward to seeing you next time, and happy potting!